No other company took a bigger toll on 9/11 than Wall Street financial giant Cantor Fitzgerald. 658 employees were working on the top floors of the North Tower when the first plane hit. Howard Lutnick headed the company then, and 23 years later, he not only is still the CEO, but every September 11th, he holds a charity day, which to date has raised, well, I'll let you give the tally right now, Howard, but for countless charities across the country, what is the total tally since you've been doing this?
Just under $370 million, so far to charities. This year, we're running at a record pace, so better than last year, so we'll exceed $12 million this year alone. And, in the beginning, our employees gave their 25% of their compensation. So we really cared about families, and now we're taking care of over 150 charities everywhere in the world.
Families are really what always comes to mind when I think about 9/11 and how many families were torn apart by these murderous cowards. I want to show you some video from this morning's ceremony, Howard, at Ground Zero, because to me it really crystallized how much time has gone by, and yet the victims' legacies live on. These two boys weren't even alive when 9/11 happened, but their grandparents were. Now, the red-headed boy on the left, his grandpa was Richard J. O'Connor, who worked at Marsh & McLennan in the World Trade Center. Rick was just 49 years old, father of three, when he was killed. But that little boy's parent was just a child when Rick died. So how, 23 years later, do you view the resilience that survivors had to show by plowing ahead with life, fatherless and motherless, despite the tragedies?
So we wanted to take care of the families, and the families, by pulling them together and having them be part of our family, I think really mattered. The Cantor Fitzgerald Relief Fund, where the families knew they could rely upon us to be there for them, both emotionally and financially. And then, we offered every kid of someone who got killed who worked for us a job. They knew they had a job. They knew they had a place where they could go, where people would care for them. And, I've been hiring kids. This week, we hired a young woman who just graduated college. And, she took the summer off, of course, but she just graduated college. And she was, just pregnant. Their mother was pregnant with her on 9/11. I mean, how unbelievably cool is that? And they joined Cantor Fitzgerald as part of our family. And really, I can't be more proud.
That is truly the legacy, I think, of what you were able to do to turn and save the company. I mean, more than half of your employees were killed on that day. It's just unbelievable. Talk about today, because that's the happy part of all of this. You had some big celebrities. Who's been there and making the trades?
Well, so I explained to all the celebrities who come in that if you look at this trading floor behind us, that's a trading floor that was on 101 to 105. And on that tragic day 23 years ago, all those people got killed. That's the 658 of our 960 employees who got killed. So the celebrities who come in, McConaughey, Jalen Brunson, J.D. Vance came after going to the memorial. He came up. Bill Clinton came. I mean, so we have just an incredible group of people. We have Giants, we have Jets, we have Yankees, we have, of course, the Rangers. I mean, everybody comes, movie stars. It's amazing, because what they understand is these people here, they understand the people who got killed, because it was like them just once upon a time. And they're all here to raise money for charity and do the right thing. And it's empowering. It's exciting. Our clients just pour in the money and pour in the business.
Great.
And it makes us feel, it takes the worst day, and let's be clear, this is the worst day, because America needs to understand they need to get rid of jihad in this earth. You can't have people ever suffer the way our family suffered. I lost my brother Gary, I lost my best friend. I don't want this to ever happen to another family. And so, we do this in order to try to remember, to try to take care of so many different people, but we want to make the point, and Liz, I deeply appreciate you having me on. We want to make the point that we've got to get rid of jihad. Both these candidates, I know Donald Trump is committed to it. I'd like to see Kamala Harris commit to getting rid of jihad on the face of the earth. Commit to it. Don't say she wants to listen to other people's names. Just say, I'm going to get rid of jihad. I'm going to crush jihad. Donald Trump has said it. I want to hear Kamala Harris say it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And you brought it up. You have been suddenly becoming very much the Trump supporter, but also a big fundraiser for Donald Trump. Give me a sense of how you feel he did last night and how Wall Street is looking at both of these candidates.
Well, I mean, the first question was a good example. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And Kamala Harris told us a lovely story of her upbringing. She didn't want to talk about inflation being up 50%. The price of groceries up 50%, gas being double. The Inflation Reduction Act was really the correct Inflation Explosion Act. I mean, all that. So she just ran away from it. She was, like she always was, a lawyer. She did her arguments. She studied them. She knew what they were. She was going to say them irrespective of what the question was. And so I thought Donald Trump, he did a good job. She outperformed. I thought she performed reasonably well. Donald Trump made all his points. He said them all, but you can't say them all. I mean, why is the border open? Why is this even a topic? What country doesn't have a closed border? What's the point of a country without a border? It makes crazy. And my fear, God knows my fear is that terrorists have come into this country and they're going to attack us again. And I never want anyone to suffer the way we did. I just don't want it. And I wish they just close the border and get these people the heck out of here.
And as you look and see what the terrorists 23 years ago wanted to do, they wanted to destroy the jewel of New York and our country, and that, of course, is Wall Street. The markets have been so incredibly resilient. I want you to put on your markets hat for a second here, Howard. You've always been a fan of the U.S. dollar. The dollar's at a 3-week high. It's gotten weak over the past couple of months, though, here and there. What do you look at as a great sort of investment, especially considering the fact that the Fed is possibly going to cut interest rates for the first time in more than a year come September 18th?
Okay, so the dollar is a child of interest rates, okay? Just make sure how the U.S. goes in interest rates, so goes the dollar. So when they're talking about 4 rate cuts for the rest of the year, right? Lower interest rates means people don't want to hold the dollar. They want to go somewhere else comparatively that has higher interest rates. So why is the dollar rallying? Because we know there's no way there's 4 cuts in the rest of this year. There's 1 cut in September, probably 25 basis points, as I said before with you, to show off politically just before the election, but they're not going to do anything else till the election after this 1 rate cut. So I think that's why the dollar's rallying, because people understand their Fed is not cutting 4 times this year. No way.
The markets did really well during Donald Trump and have done really well under Joe Biden. In fact, the S&P, Dow, NASDAQ are all up double-digit percentages, both since Biden became president and his inauguration, both election and inauguration. But give me a sense of whether the market really even pays attention to who's president.
Well, the market does pay attention to who's president because they know the long-term effects. The market tends to have a short-term bump against the long-term impact. So I think if Kamala Harris were elected, the market would run into a very negative cycle. So you had Donald Trump up 16% for his
some
years.
People said that about Donald Trump, and it didn't happen. The markets performed brilliantly,
well,
except
I didn't
for the
say it, though.
COVID.
You remember, I went on TV right away and said, you have no idea how good this is going to be for the markets. 16% up for his year, 16% a year. Joe Biden did pretty well, up 12% a year. I just don't think that's what happens if Kamala Harris gets elected. I think she wants to tax unrealized capital gains. You have all the founders have to sell, everything they own. Who's the buyer? I think that what that means is the stock market goes down. So I think people will realize it. They'll get a handle on it. I saw a CNN poll just before I came on, which said, I don't mean to talk about CNN, sorry, but a CNN poll that said that Trump made clear points on the economy, and he was up substantially when discussing the economy on the poll last night. And I think these are the kind of topics, inflation, the economy, and immigration are the 3 fundamental points. He hit on them again and again and again. And I think that's what's going to resonate with the voters when it comes to November.
Howard, on this very solemn day, we appreciate you always coming on. We will never forget. And that you can be sure we're sending a lot of love to the families of survivors at Cantor Fitzgerald. And by the way, we've got some pictures of some of the celebrities who are answering the phones here right there on the floor. That must have been so much fun.
It's so much fun. But Liz, we deeply appreciate your support all these so many years and your friendship. And I just want to tell you and your colleagues at Fox that I deeply appreciate it. So thank you so much for always being there for us.
You bet, Howard. Thank you so much to you.